Whale Gin.
All right, let's bring out from Grey Whale Gin the co-founder and master distiller, Marsh Mukhtari.
Nice to see you all. Thanks for being here. So Grey Whale Gin, it is a Californian gin. Like I said, I make it. The bottle is pretty distinctive in the gin category. I mean, you've got a few of the blue ones out there, but this is really oceanic. I mean, this was born out of a true love for California. And you can actually see within the coastline, actually it's probably easier to see on my t-shirt, the Californian coastline is right there within our logo. The points along the coastline represent where we get our botanicals. So each one of these botanicals is a representation of the gray whale's migratory path. The gray whale is born right in San Ignacio Bay in Baja, right down there in the Mexican peninsula. So for me, when I think Baja, I go right to my culinary kind of background, and I go limes. Limes on my taco, in my Corona. You got to have an explosion of citrus. So when you smell this gin, absolutely you're going to get an explosion of citrus. Just like, you know, I'm not from this country. You know, there's a bit of a mutt accent going on there. I want you to know that this is a Baja gin, or at least Baja origin. But as you start to go up the migratory path, juniper berries, those are from Big Sur. We hand forage those ourselves. The limes, by the way, are from an organic farm down in Baja. Lemons, limes, and oranges. I wanted to hit all citrus profiles, give it a little sweetness. But then this gray whale spends a lot of its time up in the Pacific Northwest, so fir trees were a very important component for us. And we de-needle those from an organic fir tree farm right outside the distillery in Sonoma. They actually cut the fir trees into a triangular shape, so we get those little tips for free, and we de-needle them, put them in the basket. And then it gets a little unusual. So we wanted to get in the water. Sea kelp. But not just any sea kelp, kombu sea kelp. It's big in Japanese cuisine. It's wild harvested. And if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see me in the water, pulling it out of the water. Kombu sea kelp has a flavor profile that's very earthy, umami. And if you've had a lot of Japanese cuisine, you'll know it from miso soup. And it's very unusual to put that in a gin, but if you're a culinary, everybody's culinary inclined. You know, we want to activate certain parts of the tongue. And that earthy umaminess, it's that je ne sais quoi. You don't really know why, but it just works. It activates all parts. And then finally, the other two, almonds and mint. Almonds, we make more almonds in the state of California than anywhere else in the world. And it really bothered us that they were sucking a lot of water out of the Californian, we've experienced a drought for a long, long time. So we moved our facility up into Northern California in a place called Capay Family Farms. They've been family owned since 1972, and they have a lot of natural rainfall up there. And the almonds give it a creamy texture, a mouthfeel that is really unlike a lot of other gins, and the mint gives it a little sweetness. So two things I'm really proud of. On the back of the bottle, the fact that this is really the reason for doing this in the first place, the fact that we support Oceana and protecting the world's oceans, and we are 1% for the planet certified. The bottle, I can tell you a couple more things. I mean, this is stuff that we labored over for a long, long time. This paint is an organic paint. Doesn't scratch. The cork, I would pull it out, but it's got a seal on it, is 100% real cork. It's 100% biodegradable. It's just the little things that we really, really care about. You know, our daughters are watching, my wife and I. Pardon me?
Yeah. Have a look at it?
Oh, of course you can, yeah.
Thanks.
I should mention the most important thing. My wife is the co-founder, and the reason it looks gorgeous, I'm really all about the liquid. But she's in New York right now. Funnily enough, accepting it.
Can we get one on this side? Of course. Is that okay?
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Please.
What is the proof?
46, well, it's 86% proof, 43% alcohol.
Yeah.
And millennials, is that kind of who you're going after?
100%, yes.
Yeah, you're right on. You're spot on.
Yeah.
I mean,
affluent millennials. Yep. Our social media is a big focus for us.
Your story's great. I mean,
thank you.
I could see my nephews who are in their 20s, like this is right up their alley.
It's certainly a breakaway. You know, there's an expression, gin clear.
Yeah.
That's not clear. So the package is very distinct and different. Yep. I'm Californian, so it hits close to me.
Which part?
Southern Cal. So
yeah,
I'm curious, would this matter to anybody on the East Coast? Because we're finding these craft spirits are finding regional strength and hard to get out of that. So I'm wondering if, you know,
It's an excellent question.
if the East Coast cares what California is.
So it's really interesting as I talk to craft people, and my wife and I, we're biodynamic farmers. We live for this
Oh, it's
stuff.
fantastic.
We live for this stuff. And the question is, the reason for being there as you go into the broader world, and it is about connecting with community.
Yes.
It's easy when you're local, you're living in the community, making it in the community.
Yeah.
How do you do that when you're 3,000 miles away? You need to connect with that community.
It's an excellent
So giving the money away, figure out how you make sure that it resonates with the local. See, we're on the other side of the ocean, so that works.
Yeah.
But as you're in the middle of the country, maybe water is the theme. On the East Coast, it's the oceans. Maybe you think about water internally. You have a great story about sourcing. It's really important telling the story about how you source your ingredients. My generation want to know how you make it. My kids, when they did Total Debauchery, they wanted to make sure it was sustainable, paying fair wages, non-GMO.
Yeah.
They are the most thoughtful, so this is unbelievably important.
Like in our restaurants, and we're in Chicago, the RPM restaurants, I could envision our servers telling the story, you know, and that's
what we're hoping.
You know, when the millennials come in, they want to know where the beef is from. Are they
Right.
grass-fed? I mean, they ask more questions today than ever before, and this is a great story for the mixologist or the bartenders or the servers to tell.
Exactly,
So I
because
could,
the mixologists have to tell the story first. The buyers
Right.
have to tell the story first, and I think there is a wonderful story. Of course, we have trade magazines that tell these stories because the buyers need to relate this to the customers. I mean, you can do all the social media, but this is such a great mouthfeel. The floral notes are beautiful. This is really one of the prettiest.
It doesn't have any bitter wood in it.
No.
So
no.
that's one of the things I liked about it, is it is a smooth, citrus-forward blend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be very mixable, right?
But that umami does come through, which was, you know, you preached it, but and a lot of people have the botanicals they preach about that don't necessarily always do, but you get that, and that's another thing that you didn't hear about 10, 15 years ago in the drinks category. That was a food term. So that's a very interesting take on that. I loved it.
Yeah, I think, you know, look, if you're going to put 6 botanicals on the front of a bottle, and quite frankly, we list exactly where we get them, you've got to be able to taste all 6 of those. And the human palate really can't go much more than 6 different flavor profiles. So when we put, you know, 100 different botanicals in there, it can get lost.
And what you've done with the proof is correct. I mean, a lot of people don't really understand gin. They keep equating it as a white good like vodka, and you see a lot of 80 proof gins, and
Right.
they don't have the flavor. The flavors come in the 86 and 90. And what I like about this product is that the flavors come through even though the proofing's a bit higher.
I still think the packaging is a challenge because it looks cloudy. The consumer really has to look.
I thought it was blue. I was sitting there going, and when I saw on the glass, I said, oh, okay, it's not blue.
So I think the flavor profile is great as well.
Thank you.
I think it's very inviting. It's a fresh tasting gin. It's very nice. My one question about the package is on premise, on a back bar.
That's a good
Is that going to
question.
get lost?
Well, here's the great news. So I focused heavily on off-prem initially. I went after the Bristol Farms in Southern Cal. You know, they did an initial order of 15, and then within 6, we've only been in market for 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks, they've already ordered 60 cases, and it's just flying off the shelves. It's a $45 price point. It's not exactly a cheap gin. But on the back bars, I decided to go on-prem, and you know, I'm brand new at this, and they're saying, so, well, we need cocktail menus printing, and I'm like, well, that's wonderful. I don't care about that. Put that on the back bar. People are going to ask for it. And weirdly enough, like you just said, the bartenders are going, oh yeah, they can give that one-liner. They go, it's a gin made up of botanicals found along the migratory path of the gray whale. You want a gin martini? This one. And they pour it. So people always ask because it looks so distinctive. And the whale, I think, is just universally loved creature anyway. And the fact that that initially draws you in, and then you start to see the California coastline, you're like, oh. Then you spin it around and you see that we actually do care. I don't know, my wife, I think, knocked it out of the park, and I'm just here to not mess it up, so.
there's an old saying, facts tell, stories sell. And you've got a story, I think, that will sell.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the passion really comes through, and I think that's the most important thing, that you have a real story, that you believe in it.
100%.
And that story is bigger than you. It's bigger than the brand. I think brands really need to have social platforms, especially big brands. See, my kids will love you just because you're small and new. For bigger brands,
Yeah.
you need to have a social platform that resonates.
Sure.
So even that you have that social platform, I think is really important.
So are you saying Breakthrough is going to carry it? I'm just kidding.
It's a race. Now we're all.
I should
that's
be
the
on your
whole point
payroll.
of this thing. Now we all race. We all chase after.
Closing the deal for you.
I love it.
Lars, can you scale this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is the kombu sea kelp. You have to, if you're familiar with kombu, it's a vegetable. It's like 3 feet long, and it grows wild in Mendocino coastline. You need a license to go down there, so we partner with a local licensee, but sustainably to cut it. It has 5 fingers, so we cut 4 of them and leave 1 super long one. But we don't use a lot in each batch. So we already, well,
Aren't they
handful-
farming them now too?
Pardon me?
Aren't they farming? Like they have farms
They
now,
are. It was
right?
just on 60
60 minutes. Yeah,
yeah.
I just saw that. Yeah.
Very environmentally friendly. But we took 150 pounds and dried it out, and we rehydrate it in the still. So it's a one-shot London dry technique. We put all of our dried botanicals into the pot, and all the fresh, the lemons, limes, oranges that are hand zested, de-needling of the fir trees into the basket above, and it's one shot.
All right. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Marsh.
Cheers. Great. Thank you, guys.